Hi everyone, it's Swade from Coaster Explorers, and I'm back with yet another roller coaster review. Almost every enthusiast I've talked to has a deep-rooted love for Rocky Mountain construction, also known as RMC. They build world-class coasters, and I have yet to ride a bad RMC. RMC and Fun Spot Atlanta shocked the coaster community when they announced ArieForce One, one of RMC's iBox coasters. ArieForce One is one of the newest RMCs, opening in March of 2023 as a ground-up iBox coaster. Most of their other iBox coasters are conversions of older wooden coasters, but ArieForce One was built as a ground-up ride. I'm not sure that anyone really expected Fun Spot of all chains to go this route, but wow, did they get a winner. One of the best things about Fun Spot, especially Fun Spot Atlanta, is that they are rarely super busy, so there's really no lines for their ride. So you can lap this thing as many times as you want without getting off. ArieForce One's theme was inspired by John Arie Sr., who had a love of flying, innovation, and exploration. It should also be noted that John Arie Sr. is actually the founder of Fun Spot, so what a fitting attraction to be named after him. Arguably the best attraction between all three Fun Spot parks, named after the founder. I mean, that you can't get much better than that. ArieForce One has also won the 2023 Golden Ticket Award for Best New Attraction. The coaster stands at 154 feet tall with a 146-foot drop. You'll traverse 4 inversions at 64 miles an hour, and there are just no dead spots anywhere on this ride. It's relentless from start to finish. You'll start by leaving the station and hitting 2 bunny hops, so some of that wacky RMC goodness that Carter has referenced in some of his reviews. After you ascend the lift hill, you'll drop off the lift at 83 degrees into your first inversion, nicknamed the Raven Trust Dive, but it's really just a dive loop. Following this dive loop, you'll hit a speed hill which provides fantastic airtime, and then you'll head into your second inversion, a 0G stall. I want to point out that despite the size of this stall, you don't really hang, but you really kind of float upside down, which 0G stall, it's kind of what you would expect, but this thing is insane. You'll whip out of that stall into an outer banked hill, and this outer banked hill is absolutely insane. It's arguably the most powerful airtime moment on any coaster that I've ridden. When you compare it to other RMCs with outer banks, I think I would have to say that ArieForce One's outer bank is the best of them all. You then head into a double up, which of course provides plenty of airtime. You'll then fly into a barrel roll over the park's arcade, which has been suitably nicknamed the arcade roll, which, again, you get completely just whipped through that inversion. Following the arcade roll, you'll take off behind the park through an off-axis hill and a right-hand turnaround. From here, you're going to fly into that final inversion, which is the 0G roll, which really does provide some nice floating sensations while you go through it. The final elements of ArieForce are the most controversial parts of the coaster, in my opinion. Right before the brake run, you're going to enter a quad down, or 4 hills. It's not necessarily like a quad down per se, before slamming, and I do mean slamming, into those final brakes. I love the airtime that ArieForce offers, but I do have to admit this ending might just be a little much. I think 3 hills spread out over the same distance would have been a little bit better. The airtime does get just a little uncomfortable on those 4 hills because they're back to back and they're so intense. And by the last hill, you have no room left before the brake, so you get ejected into an already tight lap bar. For me, the best element has to be that 0G stall. The sensation of floating upside down for several seconds is something you don't get on very many coasters, especially for as long as you do on ArieForce One. If you've ridden Goliath at Six Flags Great America, that stall has more of a hang time sensation, while ArieForce's feels more like an actual floating sensation. The outer banked turn comes very close as my second favorite element. Like I've said, I think that might be the strongest airtime that I've ever felt on any roller coaster, with maybe Velocicoaster being one of the only exceptions. There truly are no dead spots, and every part of the ride is just unique, and every element hits. The airtime alone makes ArieForce one of the most intense coasters in the United States. The colors and theme are also very cool. The station has quite a bit of theming, as do the trains, especially in that very front car. The coaster itself has white supporting structure with red and blue iBox track, very much giving it kind of a patriotic theme. It should go without saying that the coaster is also buttery smooth, as pretty much all RMC iBox coasters are. The coaster looks absolutely massive as you drive past it going into the park, and it still baffles me that a coaster that's arguably top 10 for a lot of people is at a fun spot park of all places. I wasn't an enthusiast when ArieForce was announced, or when the leaks started coming out that Fun Spot was getting an RMC, but I went back and read a lot of the old conversations, and a lot of people seemed like they thought it was going to be a Raptor coaster, which would have made a lot more sense. So a lot of people were surprised when ArieForce was announced to be an iBox coaster. So it just goes to show you never know what these little parks are going to get. ArieForce One also holds a special place to me as well because I consider this to be the coaster that broke me. And what I mean by that is that I consider ArieForce One the coaster that really broke my fear of coasters in general and made me an enthusiast. The most intense coasters that I had done before ArieForce were Flight of Fear and Mystic Timbers at my home park. I had tried to ride Diamondback multiple times, but I could never get over the fear of what if I didn't like it and I got off it and hated it. I managed to force myself onto ArieForce One of all coasters, and I have not looked back since. For my final score, I would give ArieForce a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing that holds it back from a 10 out of 10 is the ending, which is a minor nitpick, but I feel like a 9.5 is fair because ArieForce is right on the edge of being perfect. I think if those last 4 hills were spread out or drawn out a little bit more, or maybe there was 3 hills instead of 4, it would be just a little bit better. But in my eyes, my personal score would be a 10 out of 10, but looking at it objectively, there are a lot of complaints about those last hills, so I feel like a 9.5 is fair. Make sure to drop a like and comment. Let us know whether you agree or disagree with my ranking of ArieForce. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to see all of our upcoming reviews, vlogs. We're hopefully going to have a lot going on in 2025. With that, I'll see you guys later.